Have you been curious and wanting to try color grading your footage from your Air 3 or your Mini 4 Pro in DLog-M? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how. So you're probably wondering why I'm filming this video outside and not at home. I was just out filming another video, and then the idea for this video came into mind, and I was just about to go get some coffee, so I thought, why not start it here and then just go home and color grade the footage that I just filmed. There you go.
Yes, sir. Here's that.
Thank you.
For you.
Take care. Okay, so I've got two clips here that are from the Mavic 3 Pro shot on the 3x lens, which is in DLog-M. So I'm just gonna show you how I color correct and color graded using two ways, using LUTs and the other one without using LUTs. So you don't have to go out there and purchase LUTs, but if you do enjoy a certain look from some of your favorite creators, and you want to get a similar look to them, then you might want to consider buying their LUTs. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since I've added the LUTs here, I'm just going to hit Command 7, and so I can get the Luma waveform here, so I can take a look at the highlights, midtones, and the shadows. I'll get into that a little bit later, but I'm editing here in Final Cut Pro. It pretty much applies, similar thing if you're doing it in Adobe's Premiere Pro or any other editing software. Okay, so I've added two LUTs. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a conversion LUT. Now this one is from one of my favorite creators, Gabe Scanwell. Put his links in the description below. So what this does right now, it's converted the flat footage that we've had, and it's added saturation and contrast to it. So if you look at the before and the after, before, after. So it was a completely flat image, and now we have a good looking image, something we can work with. You see, it looks much better. So the next thing I'm going to do is add another stylized LUT that I want, also from Gabe Scanu. I'll probably go with sunset. This was shot during sunrise, and there you go. You have a pretty good looking clip, minus some tweaks here and there. So I'm gonna adjust some tweaks. I'm gonna do some things here and there. Now what you want to do is adjust the intensity of your stylized clip, because if you put it this way, it's gonna look way too intense. Some people like it, some people don't. It's completely up to you. So I'm just gonna leave it like, I think maybe around 70 looks good. So this is a before and after. You see more of the oranges there, and you see a little bit of color in the water there too. So the next thing I want to work with is the color wheels and adjusting the contrast. So I'm going to bring the shadows down. Now what you want to do is make sure that it doesn't get below the line 0, because if you bring it down all the way, you see it's going to crush the darks. So what you want to do is bring it to close to 0, where you still have some information there. And same thing with the highlights too. If it goes above 100, you're losing information in the brighter areas, so you don't want that to happen. So make sure you bring it like close to 100. So I'm just going to leave it, I think, somewhere here. Now if you want to add more saturation, you always can, but it's not going to look that great. So I'm just going to leave it the way it was before. However, what I'll do is I'll add a little bit of warmth in the temperature. And also because I really like magenta tones, so I'm just gonna move the tint toward the right, add some magentas in there, and for now we have a pretty good looking clip. So if you want to add more adjustments, you can keep going from there. For example, if you go into curves, you can make more finer adjustments. You can pull this down. You see how it's adding more contrast. The darks are getting darker. If you wanted to add a little bit of fade, you just pull the darks up slightly or more, and you get a faded look. You bring it this way, you're crushing the blacks. So maybe a slight fade is good. I think this looks nice, and you can move from there as well. If you go to color adjustments here, you can adjust the contrast a little more or bring it down a little bit, totally up to you. You can increase or decrease the exposure if you wanted to, or same thing with the brightness. What I would do is add a little more warmth to the highlights. I think that should be good. Maybe a little bit of cooler tones in the in the shadows. Yeah, I think that looks nice. So what we want to do is bring these adjustments like the color wheels and, you know, put it all the way to on the top. So I just want to show you a quick before and after. So this is what the clip looks like. Now with this clip, what I'm going to do is I will color correct and then grade it myself without using any LUTs. So the first thing I'm going to do is get into the color wheels. I will add some saturation. I think around there is good. And then I'll work with the exposure. So I'm going to bring the shadows down and the highlights up a little bit. Maybe the midtones too, just up a notch. I think there it looks good. So just a quick before, after, and before, after. So as you can see, you know, the clip looks pretty good after adding, you know, the contrast and the saturation. So the next thing I want to do is color grade it. So I'm going to get into hue saturation curves, very similar to what you use in Lightroom. I'm going to use this tool here, this pick dropper, and I'm going to select these greens here. Now if you move it up, you see you're changing the color, you bring it down, you're changing the color. So I want to give it that, you know, a little golden look. So I'm just going to bring it up a little bit, slightly more toward the oranges. And you can see that's made quite a bit of difference. And then I will use the hue saturation curve, and I think I'm going to bring it down a little bit. I don't want too much gold to be there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is adjust the exposure of that. Maybe a little bit brighter for me. Okay, so that's basically your color grading. You're just working with certain colors there and stuff. So what I'm going to do right now with the highlights is I'm going to try and move it. I'm going to move it a little bit to the cooler side. Just a little bit, but what I'll do with the shadows, I'll move the shadows a little bit toward the warmer tones there. So you see the before, after, before, after. Maybe also add a little bit of, obviously this is just like a quick basic tutorial. You can deep dive more into color grading and, you know, do so much more. This is just like a quick basic walkthrough of you know, like a starting point of how to like color correct and then color grade your footage. So the first step you want to do is color correct and then color grade your footage. So color correcting includes, you know, your adding saturation, adjusting the exposure, and then your grade is where you add certain colors and you add that stylized look, that overall look to your footage. If you want to give it that moody look, you reduce the saturation, you know, and make a little, decrease the brightness a little bit. And if you want to give it that vibrant look, you increase the saturation of certain colors and, you know, give it that vibrancy. If you like the low contrast look, you know, you add more fade and reduce the contrast. And if you like the contrasty look, you can go for that too. And if it's not sharp enough for you, you can always add sharpness in post, though I don't recommend adding too much, just a little bit. So this is what it looks like. You can always go for LUTs if you want to, from your favorite creators. If you like their looks, you can use that. And the thing is, it's just like presets. No LUT is perfect, just like no preset is perfect. You always have to make tweaks because every situation is different. However, it's a good starting point for you to work your grade from. For example, if I'm grading my footage, I want to add a certain look from one of my favorite creators, I'll do that, but it's not going to take me 100% there. It'll probably take me like 70% or 80% of the way there. I still have to make minor tweaks here and there when it comes to certain adjustments, you know, make certain colors pop, for example, or add more contrast or reduce the contrast. It all depends. It's up to you. It's your taste. You do what you want to do. with your footage. So hopefully this quick walkthrough on how to color correct and color grade your footage is helpful. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button so it helps out this video. If you enjoyed this, if it was helpful, please hit the like button as it helps out this video and my channel, and also subscribe for future videos. Thank you for taking the time to watch.